to the lounge where the stories climb high. Dr. Rhonda's in the groove where the pages touch the sky. Sip on inspiration, let the moments unwind. Every voice the horizon, new tales intertwine. From pen to passion where the art feels divine. Authors vibing together, creativity and time. So pull up your chair, let your spirit align. Horizons Author Lounge where words come alive. Welcome to Horizons Author Lounge.
Hey everybody, it's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and I am back with another episode of the Horizons Author Lounge. I just love my intro music. Every time I hear it, I just want to vibe to it. It's just so smooth. It's like the neo soul thing going on. It kind of reminds me of a little bit of Common, but with a lady doing it. So I love it. And you know, really, when I was trying to choose the music, it was a guy that was doing it at first, and it kind of reminded me of Common, but he wasn't getting the words exactly right, and so I had to go with the lady who was doing it, and so that's what you hear now, and I love her. So that's what you have going on right now. So I absolutely love it, and I'm in a good mood. And I'm in a very good mood. And if you follow me on Facebook, you know I have not been in the best mood this week. I've been really, really, really feeling it, because most of you know, if you know me, you know that I am a government employee, and this is the third time that we've been in a government shutdown, and this has been the hardest one, and it's been hitting a little bit different, and I've been feeling it, but you know what? God is still on the throne, and I had to just sit back and just think about it for a while, and I'm just gonna let God do His thing. So I had to let it get out, and sometimes when a Christian starts to feel it, and we get upset and we let it out, some people think that the Christian has lost their faith. And that does not mean that we've lost our faith. Sometimes we just have to let it out, because we feel like, okay, if I let it out and I show people that I'm upset, it means that I've lost my faith, and people are going to think that I've lost my faith, and that all of a sudden I'm sinning. And no, it doesn't mean that. If we don't let things out, then sometimes it's going to come out in the wrong way. So sometimes we just have to let things out. And after we've let it out, we feel better. And then we come right back into ourselves, and we're able to just vibe and then keep moving on. And that's what I did. I let it out. I was able to get back into myself, and I'm all right. And so I just want that to be a teachable moment for everybody, that just because that you're God's child does not mean that you don't get frustrated sometimes. You can still get frustrated, but after you've let it out, go right back into your secret place, and then just keep trusting in God that things are going to be okay. So you keep that in mind. Now, with that being said, we have two amazing guests for tonight, and I'm about to introduce you to our first guest, Miss Fierce Manson. She has written her very first children's book, and she has written it for a purpose, and she wrote it for somebody very special in her life. So I'm going to let her tell you all about it, and I'm about to bring her on stage right now. I met her on Podmatch, and she has just a really cool spirit about her, and I'm really looking forward to talking with her. This is going to be our first time like really vibing and holding a conversation, but just going back and forth with her, I can already tell that she's just amazing. And so I want to introduce to some, present to others, Fierce Manson. She is the CEO. She is the creator of the Fierce Females. Hello, welcome to the Horizons Author Lounge.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate you allowing me this opportunity to be on your platform and tell everyone about my first ever children's book and illustrated. And it is in memory of my older brother. So thank you so very kindly.
Well, thank you so very kindly for being here tonight. And I think this is a beautiful, beautiful dedication to him. Why did you choose to memorialize him in such a way?
You know, I chose to do it because of my grief therapist.
Mhm.
When he first passed, December 11th, 2023, you know, I still, you know, get emotional.
I'm
But
sure.
yes, he was 2 and 1. He was my older brother, but yet he was my father figure. Me and my younger brother grew up in a single parent home, and my brother he was the man in the house. He was the father, and so my grief counselor, he says you need to externalize. You need to do something to memorialize your brother, something that will help you to heal. Because when that happened, my heart was, oh, I felt a chill. He
Mm.
said, the spirit, God just walked in.
Come on now. Yes.
So you know what? My heart just ripped, and my heart was shattered in 1,000 pieces. I've never felt anything that strong and that horrible. You know, I can't even explain it. So my therapist says, you know, I knew I needed to get help because 2 years had passed and I still wasn't any better. I was still grieving so heavily. The grief was just so heavy. And he says, you've got to get it out. You've got to get it out, get it out, get it out. Mm, glory to God.
Mm.
You've got to get it out. And so one day I was sitting, I says, what can I do? And Dr. Rhonda, believe it or not, that book had been written years ago, years ago. It was actually a different title. And I sat down and I kept meditating and meditating. I said, wow, Lord, what would you have me do? What should I do? What can I do? And I opened up my computer. I pulled up that manuscript and I said, oh my God, the bulb went on. I had an aha moment.
Yes.
The bulb went on and I says, this manuscript, because I had been wondering, sometimes God will have you waiting, you know, and I couldn't figure out why is this manuscript not published. Of course, I didn't know something this terrible was going to happen. And so I took out the main character. I put in my brother. I rewrote some things and I put my mother in it because
Okay.
the characters that was in the book,
Mm-hmm.
they're still in the book, but with different names. Lazio, that's my brother Lazario. He's the pilot. And when I did that, and I had them to draw the his picture and the 18-wheeler. Originally, it was a Winnebago, and I says Lazario always loved his 18-wheelers. And when I changed everything around, I said, "Oh my God!" I felt like a weight had lifted off of me. I felt better. I felt a sense of healing coming over me, a sense of healing. And I said, this is it. I'm going to take this and run with it. Now it's time. It's time for this book to be published. And I said, I'm going to start marketing, start talking about the book, and, you know, start telling individuals this is, of course, my first children's book with illustration. It's a beautiful piece of work. And I'm very thankful to memorialize my brother this way.
So, would you say that the main character looks like him in certain ways too?
Oh yes. Oh yes. I took a picture and I had her. I says, "This is the main character, my brother Lazario. Could you please do a illustration?" You know, and we had to go through maybe 12 different rounds of edits before
Wow.
we got it just right. Yes. Yes.
Now,
So. Mhm.
now you hit on a very important point. When you are looking for an illustrator, it is sometimes very difficult to find it. You might find some great illustrators, they might be great artists, but to find an illustrator who recognizes your vision, who is able to make your characters come alive, sometimes that takes a lot of different rounds. I had a client who was very particular about who she wanted to make her vision come alive. And we talked to a lot of different illustrators who were very good at what they did.
Mhm.
But when it came to finding somebody who really recognized her vision, um, when she knew. So how did you know that this was the person who was going to be the one to make your characters come alive, who was going to make Lazio come alive and recognize the vision that you were looking for?
Well, I had spoke with her. I think I spoke with her sometime before I decided to work with her. And then once I really made up my mind to pick her, we started to work on it because I had talked to different other individuals who do illustrations, but I went with this young lady, and it was challenging and it was difficult. I thought that maybe when she first, yeah, that's we had to go through several rounds, and of course I got upset sometimes, and I was like, no, 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 no. And I'm the kind of person where I hate to make changes. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings,
Yeah.
and I didn't want her to feel like um I was just having her to make changes. I didn't want to hurt her feelings. And this is the final. And when I saw this final version, just what you said, I felt like he came alive. She made the character come alive. And that's when I knew that this was the right version, because she had the truck was it was all wrong, and you know, and so once we finally got to this version, I knew this was the right version. Yeah, I felt like it had came alive, just like you said.
I love the truck has wings. So I'm guessing that, okay, the flying 18 wheeler. So this was not just the regular 18 wheeler that's just rolling over the highways. This was actually an 18 wheeler that's flying. So tell me about the story.
Yes, it is a flying 18 wheeler. And the story, each chapter, they're going through different storms. So, like in chapter one, there's a storm, there's the bubblegum storm, because he's taking children. The 18 wheeler is full of sick children. Some
Mhm.
have cancer, some have heart problems, some have a blood disease. They all have different challenges. And so they each chapter they go through different storms. There's a bubblegum storm, there's a strawberry storm. It's put in children terms. And so in the bubblegum storm, they're getting hit with all this bubble gum. It's hitting the 18 wheeler, and they've been tossed back and forth to and fro. But he's steady driving an 18 wheeler, trying to get the children to the last island. And then there's the Gorilla Grape Island. They stop and rest at Gorilla Grape Island. That's another chapter. But when they get off the 18 wheeler, they don't know there's gorillas on the island because they're all living up in the trees in these grape looking huts. The huts look like really big grapes. And they wanted to pull the grapes down and eat the grapes. So Leaning, which is my mother in the book, Leaning, she's tapping the grapes in this tree, but she doesn't know she's tapping somebody's house. She's tapping the grapes, and she's shaking all these, the gorillas. They come down out of that grape, and they're mad and angry, and they're all running all over the place trying to escape, the gorilla. And they have to get through that chapter, through that storm. They get back on the 18 wheeler, and so the point is, Lazio, my brother, they're trying to get to the last island, which is the healing island, so they can get down in the water, the miracle water, so they can be healed. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, this sounds like a really cute story.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's a lot of fun. And there's one chapter where they have the strawberry storm. They're attacked by strawberries, these big, huge strawberries. And they have the cafe. They got some interesting menus. They have some interesting menus. They have like the canopy, they have different funny little names on their menu. They get to stop and go to another island. They have the baseball storm where they're getting hit with all these baseballs and the windows get cracked. So there's a lot of different storms that they have to go through, a lot of challenges. that they have to go through before they get to that last stop, which is the healing island.
So you said, I know you said this was your first children's book, and you had actually written this book years ago.
Yes,
Um, do you plan to write more children's books?
it's a possibility. It's a possibility. And a cute little story. Believe it or not, when I first came up with the idea of the book before it changed, I was on a date with someone, and he started telling me that he had a farm, and the name of the book was, and we came up with this idea for a children's book.
Hmm.
I had never thought that I was going to write a children's book back then. And so we started laughing and laughing. And I said, you know what? This sounds like Gerald the Honking Goose. And so I said, Gerald the Honking Goose and the Adventures of the Flying Winnebago. It was a Winnebago. And so, you know, it was a cute idea, but I never ever thought that I was going to write, a children's book. I wrote, the manuscript, but it was a different story. And then fast forward, this thing happens with my brother. It still feels like I'm living somebody else's life with him not in the world with me. It still feels very odd. But I rearranged that manuscript, the first manuscript, I rearranged it. Now I understand why when people write scripts, when they say it goes through several changes, edits, the original story sometimes is not what the final version is. And so I got to experience that with this particular manuscript. That first manuscript, it's nothing like, of course, I didn't know. I didn't know that this was going to happen and make all those changes and put my brother in it and change the title, change the characters. I had no idea. I had no idea. Not in a million years. I
Yeah,
had no idea.
that's the surprising thing about writing a book. Sometimes your vision changes in the process.
Yes. Yes.
And then sometimes what you envision, what you are latching on to, you're like, no, it has to be this way. And then your editor or your publisher is like, no, it can't be that way. And you're like,
Mhm.
really? Like, are you sure?
You're right, because it was stuck in my mind. That first book, Gerald the Honking Goose, it was stuck in my mind. I didn't want to change that. It was just stuck in my spirit, stuck in my heart. And after I went through counseling and therapy with my grief counselor, and he said to me, you got to get it out. You need to externalize your grief. I'm
Mm,
like, I need to externalize. He says, yeah, you can't keep that sitting in you, or else it's going to show up in your health. He
mm.
says, you don't want to, he says, you got to figure out a way to externalize it, to memorialize him, to celebrate him. I says, okay. And I kept, meditating, saying, well, what can I do? What can I do? And then I started pulling up the manuscript, and it just popped into my heart and my spirit to change it, to start changing it around. And that's what happened.
Now I
Mhm.
noticed that in the story, you made him a grown man, and it's a children's story, but you made him a grown man. What talk to me about the choice of making him a grown man instead of making him a child in the story?
Well, I guess because he has to be the pilot, and the pilot's going to be an adult, so, and when he passed away, he was in his 60s. I didn't
Right.
want to make him a child. I didn't want a child flying a 18-wheeler. You know what I mean?
Sense.
So I kept him as he was. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, and there are children's books where the characters are adults, um,
Yes.
but you see so many times where people want to make the characters children because it's a children's book.
Hmm.
But you decided to do a children's book where the characters are adults,
Hmm.
but but you still have to make the language such as a child would understand. So
Right.
did you find that a challenge?
Do they find it a challenge?
Or did you find it a challenge when you were trying to make the language such as a child would understand it, even though your characters were adult you're talking about an 18-wheeler, and it's kind of almost like time travel, so to speak. So you're having to make the language children's language.
Actually, I didn't find it challenging because when I wrote the book, I wrote it out of the spirit of a child.
Okay.
And so I didn't write it in adult language because the mindset of the book, the story is a children's book. And so I wanted children to enjoy it, understand it. And so the language, I didn't have a difficult time at all because those stories, it had me laughing. When you're a writer, believe it or not, when you're a writer, the characters do the writing. I don't know if you understand that or not.
Oh, no, I totally understand that.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yes. Yes.
No, totally. So we only
Okay.
have a few minutes left, but I did want to hear about the fierce females.
Okay. Well, I do the Fierce Female Network, which is I do play a lot of music um,
Mhm.
on my podcast, on my show, and I've done this for like over 17 years, supporting independent artists, recording artists, actors, and so they come on the show. It's actually the Fierce Female Network is a rebranding of WSF Radio.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it was WSF Radio in the early days, and then I want to say COVID. Well, before COVID, I rebranded to the Fierce Female Network, and then I says, well, it's all about multimedia. It's all about entertainment. That's what I studied at Columbia College was journalism and television. So that's my thing. That's kind of my thing, and I wanted to rebrand it. And WSF Radio had ran its course. It was a lot of fun. It was a real hoot with all the different artists, and so I still feature a lot of artists. I had a record label many years ago, and I had my own artists, and I do manage a few artists. Not many now, not many. I only got one. Uh, Artists can be very difficult and hard to manage, and so
Well, I'm quite
right,
sure.
yeah,
Yes.
right now I only have one, and he does his own thing. I don't have to really handle him. He's very seasoned. He's in his 60s, and I don't have to try to rewrite the will, remake the will with him. So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah,
So now you're just in a different season.
in a different season.
It sounds like you're in a different season. You're doing a little bit of managing, but you're not doing you're not in the you're not in that same time anymore. You're saying you're doing something a little different now.
Well, not different. With the Fierce Female Network, I still do the same thing as I did with WSF Radio, is
Okay.
promoting artists. I play their music, they run promotions, and so I just had a great one with the band was Gentle Glow. They're in Austria. They wrote a new track, "Who Are You?" Really nice song, and I did their promotion. And so I pretty much have them on, do interviews with artists from time to time, and play their music.
Oh, okay. So you're busy. You're in a busy season.
Well, it depends on the order. Sometimes it's slow. Right now it's slow. It's kind of slow. And
Oh,
yeah, it's kind of slow right now.
well, there are ebbs and flows with everything.
That's true. You're right.
And with it being slow, that gives you time to promote your book.
You're right. Absolutely. And that's what I want to focus on is promoting this book. And so I'm trying to get on as many platforms as possible to talk about the book. And so everyone knows that it's out there. I want them to be aware of what the story is and why it's written, because I want people to heal from grief. A lot of people are experiencing loss, and they're trying to heal, and they're
Mhm.
grieving. And so I want to reach out to others, really to help them, to let them know you can heal. Grief is a process. Um, it's a struggle. I still have my struggles. I still think about him,
Right.
pretty much every day. It's not easy. It's still not easy, but I have the Lord and he helps me. If it wasn't for God, I don't know, but he helps me to get through it.
I'm quite sure. I talked about that earlier in the show. Is God is still on the throne. You
Yes.
know, you're going to have your tough times, but sometimes we just have to step back. We remember that he's still on the throne. You know, we go to our secret place, and then we just keep moving.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you found a way, a very effective way to channel your grief, and you're able to celebrate your brother at the same time. It's a beautiful tribute to him, and I want
Thank
to be
you.
able to show the cover one more time. And if
Okay.
you could tell everybody where people can find the book.
Yes, they can connect with me in regard to the book, The Fierce Females at gmail.com.
Okay, and can they also go to your website to find the book?
The book is not on the website. If they connect with me via email, I can give them all the details and the updates regarding the book.
Okay, wonderful.
Hmm.
Okay, so everybody just go to fiercefemales at gmail.com. The email address is right here on the screen, and you can also find the email in the chat. So make sure you reach out to Miss Fierce Manson. I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really enjoyed talking with you. Congratulations on a beautiful, beautiful tribute to your brother. Lazio, the Proud Papa, and the Adventures of the Flying 18-Wheeler. A fantastic adventure.
Thank you. And so if they email me, they can get on the list. So those that email me and get on the list, they will be the first ones to know when the book is available and to do their pre-order. That's the plan here. That is the plan, to email me, get on the list so they can know when they can place that pre-order. And I want to be able to have them to get their copy of the book. They can download it. It'll be available on Audible, not on Amazon.com, but I will give all the details and information where they can pick up the copy of the book if they want it on Audible or if they want a paperback version. So if they email me, they'll get all the deets on the book.
Sounds like a plan.
Thank
All
you.
right. All right. Well, thank you once again. You have an incredible evening, and I will see you on Pod Match, and I will see you on the net.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you again. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You have a wonderful evening.
You as well.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. All right, that was author Fierce Manson, and we are about to move over to Command Sergeant Major retired. He has written a wonderful book on leadership, on his life as a retired Command Sergeant Major in the United States Army. If you know me, you know that I am a retired Master Sergeant in the United States Army. What you probably don't know is that my daughter just joined the Army, and she is in basic training right now. I'm so excited for her. So we're gonna be talking a little bit about that. And if you know my daughter, you probably are shocked that she's in the United States Army because she's a little bougie. But that's okay though, because she is going to be an amazing soldier, and I'm excited for her. But I'm also excited about this next guest that we are about to bring on right now. So I want to welcome Command Sergeant Major retired Donald Robertson. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Horizons Author Lounge, and congratulations on your brand new book.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. And yes, the word retired is the operative word in that topic.
Yes. Please
Yeah.
tell me you have your book with you right now.
I have it right here. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, first of all, we've got to talk about the book. How long has it
Okay.
been since you retired?
So I retired back in 22.
Okay.
So it's been right at 4 years come July.
Well, I retired before you. I retired, and technically February 2017, but with leave and everything, I had been home since December 2016. I went home right before Christmas. So I feel like, oh my goodness, it's been 10 years almost since I left the army. And man, time flies. It really
Yeah,
does.
it does go by very quickly.
Yeah. And so like you probably heard me say, my daughter just joined the army. So the wheels keep on turning. My mother's retired Air Force, my dad is retired Air Force. I have other family members who are either Army or Navy or what have you. So
Mhm.
this is a whole military thing in my family. So um, it feels good to have another retiree on the show right now.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I'm
Yes,
excited to be here, and congratulations to your daughter as she continue to keep the torch lit and moving forward.
absolutely. So tell me about the book.
So this book is not your typical, look at me and what I've achieved at every single rank and how I got promoted to the rank of command sergeant major. That I think there's a market out there for that. There's a lot of books out there that kind of, talk about that. This book is really about me talking about my life experiences, my memoir, my testimony, if you will, and the hardships that I endured growing up as a young man in the South, and then taking a lot of those hardships and turning them into something positive and fuel, which ultimately led to me becoming a command sergeant major in the Army.
Are you one of those people? I've like for instance, my boss always says that he should not be here, and he thinks about how he grew up. He should not be where he is today.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, do you have one of those stories, or do you feel that your steps were basically ordered to be where you are today?
I can definitely relate to, like I say, your boss's story. My story can definitely probably relate to that. At 18 years old, I was shot
Mm,
um, um, in the streets, growing up in that type of lifestyle, hanging out in that type of environment. Um, and I didn't know if I was going to make it. So, absolutely, if you want to say, should I be here? It's just by the grace of God that I am here
wow.
because I lost a lot of blood. I went to surgery. I still walk around with the bullet lodged into my back and my spine today. That was never removed because there was potential that could have paralyzed me if they did remove it. I talk about that event in my book and how that really made me look at my life and how I was living at that particular time in my life, and my decision to leave that lifestyle behind and that environment behind and join the military, which was kind of like my saving grace at that particular moment in my life.
What made you decide to join the army?
So that event itself was just one of the many reasons. But number two, as I talk about in my book, I grew up in foster care. Um, there was a lot of abuse in foster care, and it wasn't like I was adopted by a family member, someone that kept me inside of my personal family, my biological family. Unfortunately for me, I never have met my biological mother or my biological father. To this day, I still have not met them.
Mm,
And during that foster care environment, I went from home to home, family to family. There's a series of emotional and physical abuse growing up in that system. It definitely should not have been that way. It kind of gives you this feeling of, do I belong? Am I good enough? What am I doing wrong? And those are questions that, as a child, you really should not have to ask yourself. Um, what am I doing wrong? I mean, you're just, 3 and 4 or 5 years old. So I don't know, maybe to someone on the outside looking in, that may not sound like a very profound question, but when you are constantly being relocated from home to home, it starts to weigh heavily on your heart and your mind to ask yourself,
Absolutely.
what am I doing wrong? Why does nobody want to accept me and adopt me? And so that, and then after I was finally adopted, I would say about 4 years into the adoption, that family, my adopted mother and father, they went through a divorce, unfortunately. So now that dynamic shifts, from what you're used to, accustomed to as a lifestyle. Now you go into a single family, mother, head of the household. She's working as hard as she can, but that's unfortunately just not enough to make ends meet. So you miss out on a lot of things that other kids, have. But as far as like school clothing and haircut, just the simple things a lot of people take for granted, Christmas, birthdays, etc. And then as I turned a teenager, I found myself working to help pay bills and help us survive and just get through month to month. Um, and then at 15 years old, I was working at a fast food restaurant. So yeah, so all of that, along with um, being shot at 18, it's just like, I needed a change, I needed structure, and I needed something that could get me away from this environment of uncertainty into something a lot more stable. And for me, that calling was the Army.
I can see that. And so talk to me about um you've made this decision.
Mhm.
You get to basic training, you look around and you're like, what in the world did I just get myself into?
Yeah, so I get the basic training, and my only knowledge of the Army at that particular, because I wasn't like you, I didn't have you know family members that preceded me in the military, so I was like the first to do that in my adopted family. So when I get there, my thought was, this is going to be structure, it's going to be discipline, there's going to be drills. I'm just thinking about all the movies I've seen on TV at that particular time up to that moment, right? And I remember to this day vividly getting out of the van, getting to Fort Benning, Georgia, and taking your little bag and going down to the little open bay of like all the bunks. And I was like, okay, here we go. And I'm thinking it's going to be very structured and disciplined. And it was very late when we got there. I think it was like after 8 or 9 o'clock. I mean, it was like really, really late. And a lot of the other trainees, they were already in their bunks, asleep at that particular time.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry, I'm gonna pause my camera real quick and open this blind. Sorry, in just a second.
You must be in California.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
probably
I was
too
about to
bright.
say it's nighttime here.
Okay, there we go. So anyway, I get there and I'm thinking it's gonna be very disciplined. People will be asleep in their bunks, but it seemed like as soon as the drill sergeants dropped us off and allowed us to get our bags and kind of bunk down, if you will, and they walked out of that room, it just turned into chaos. it, it was almost like frat party or something. People acting crazy and pillow fighting and all this and that. When I did get finally over to my basic training, um, I tried to quit literally on day 3. I was like, this isn't for me. I'm just a young guy from the suburbs and city of Atlanta and all this and that. And I wanted to go home, so I tried to quit. Unfortunately, they wouldn't let me quit, and I thank God they didn't let me quit. And it turned out to be the best thing that made me a squad leader at that particular time. And I ended up graduating basic training with honors. So that kind of started my career right there.
Wow. So that career went on to 30 years of service.
Mhm.
You had what, 4 deployments? I believe it was
Yeah, I had 6 total deployments.
six deployments.
Mhm.
Wow. So, and it's not lost on me that you said you were from Atlanta.
Yeah, so I grew up right outside of Atlanta, a
Mhm.
little south of Atlanta, a little small town in between Atlanta and Athens called Monroe, Georgia. But I did spend a few of my years, teenage years, up in the Atlanta area.
And you went to basic training at Fort Benning,
Yes.
so you were like right down the street, basically.
Yeah, about 2.5 hours south, if you will. Yeah.
That's hilarious to me because you wanted to quit and they wouldn't let you. You were like, man, I could just run down the street if I want.
Yeah, I kind of thought about that too. Take me a Greyhound or something. Yeah,
So that you said that actually crossed your mind.
it sure did. Several times.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't because you wound up having a stellar career.
Yeah, it's really a blessing I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, do you ever now that you've had this great career, 30 years, 6 deployments, you're leading soldiers.
Mhm.
Um, do you ever look back and say, what if I had gotten my way and they had let me leave?
Yeah, I often think about that. And I tell you, my answer to that is probably, I mean, I can't, go back and say hindsight being 2020, but I'm almost positive if I did not stay in basic training and complete out my military career, I'm quite sure I would either be dead or probably in jail, or, you know, I wouldn't be where I'm at today for sure. No ifs, ands, or buts. But I look around at that environment and some of the people I was hanging out with and just where their lives have ended up at. And most likely I would have been right there with them.
And I asked that question because um you know as you know, I'm a retired master sergeant and you're a retired command sergeant major, and I'm sure both of us at times have talked with young people and we have told
Mhm.
stories like that to young people where we've said that um there's nothing for you on the outside, or
Right.
um and if you did get out, this could happen or that could happen, or you try to share your story and they think that you're blowing smoke or you're just
Right.
saying that because you want me to stay in. And they don't always realize, I didn't have that choice, join the army or go to jail, or I wasn't that I wasn't shot. I didn't have that danger. However, I mean, it doesn't mean that I grew up with a silver spoon in my mouth, but
Mhm.
it doesn't mean that had I had I had I not made some choices in life, that negativity could would not have been there waiting for me. And so I often share my story. I used to often tell my soldiers, go to school, get your education, take advantage of every opportunity that the army gives you because you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
Everybody's so concentrating on getting out. I want to get out as if they're in prison or something. Oh, when I get out, that's what they always say, when I get out.
Mhm. Mhm.
But you don't know what's going to happen when you get out. And I would always tell them, take advantage of those opportunities, but they think that you're blowing smoke. And so they only listen with maybe one ear.
Right.
So
Right.
how did you convince people that you're not just blowing smoke?
Yeah, so I definitely can identify with what you're saying about a lot of times the troops are, they don't really have a plan. And that was one of the things I used to make sure that I would sit down my soldiers that say that, hey, I don't want to reenlist, for whatever reason. Um, and I would ask them, okay, if you don't want to reenlist, then I want you to show me your plan. So
Mhm.
when you get out, your ETS date is on this date. Give me your 30, 60. 90-day plan, and then I want to know what you're going to do between the next 3 to 5 years. If they could not show me a concrete plan, comprehensive concrete plan, then I would say to them, I think you're making a huge mistake, you know? And when you put it in, when it's tangible and they can see it, it's not just abstract, just talking so they can't visualize it. But when they can see it on paper, like, hey, I've asked you to develop me a plan and you fail to do that. So what is it that we're doing here that is so bad that you are unwilling to reenlist and continue to progress and move forward in the Army, that you are so eager to do on the outside with no plan? And that really put it into perspective for a lot of troops that felt like, oh, I just don't like it because I have to do PT or because I have to follow orders. I have to dress a certain way. No, that's just structure. That's just discipline. So what you're telling me is you're going to go out or you're going to get out and then you're going to become undisciplined or unstructured. So all the things that you've learned to be a model citizen is going to be reverted back to your old habits and old ways. Yeah. And that really does help put into perspective. And for me, by the time I got to my first term of my 4-year enlistment, I was already, sergeant promotable. So I was really doing great. I was making rank and doing all the right things to be promoted and advance my career. So I just felt like, the Army is not a complicated profession. If you have a little self-initiative and self-drive, it can really yield some very positive results.
Absolutely. So show me the book one more time, please.
Okay. So this is my, I like to show people this one, but I'm sorry.
Oh, there, you have to put it right in front of you.
Yeah. So this is my personal author copy. Okay. Got my screen thing on. So can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So I like to really show people this, and it is.
I disappeared. There you go.
Yeah, and it's on Amazon. You can order it off Amazon. It's on Kindle. I'm sorry, and you can do paperback. You can do Kindle. You can order it from me directly by just emailing me or connecting with me on Instagram or Facebook. So however you want to order it or get the book, I'm telling you, I think it's a game changer. If you go to Amazon, you can see all the reviews of the people that have left reviews and read the book. There's numerous reviews of just people saying how inspired they were, how it brought them to tears, how it made them review their own life, and some of the things that they have taken as like, hey, this has been an anchor, or this has been weight on my back that I have allowed to be, a burden to me for years or decades, and say, I'm gonna take the words that Rod put in this book and use it to stop the perpetual cycle of I can't. Because I share in this book, and I won't spoil the book for you, but for me to come from where I came from and the trials and tribulations that I endured, a lot of people, unfortunately, they turn to alcohol, they turn to drugs, they don't make it out of those broken systems. But I use that as fuel. And the same thing can be applied to your life, depending on what that hardship is, what that obstacle is that you feel just will not allow you to continue to move forward and progress to your full potential. And then I talk about a very important chapter in this book. I call it the war between two worlds. And that is being married and being in the military. And that's a challenging thing.
Yes.
That is a very challenging thing. The average person that has never served on active duty or whether it's reserves or National Guards, and you're asked to deploy and leave your family, your children, your spouse behind for months at a time. No job asks you to do that. No other job in the world asks you to do that. And when you are missing these important family events, you know, children's graduating, children's um, going from grade to grade, their sports, their recitals, you're missing PTAs, you know, so on and so forth. You're missing valuable time with your spouse that you can never get those moments back.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we get so entangled in our profession. And that same analogy can be applied to someone that's chasing after CEO, someone that's chasing after vice president, someone that's chasing after, you know, whatever title it is in your company. That same analogy can be applied to you. You can take all of that energy that you're applying towards your job and easily forget about your children, your spouse, because you're so caught up in, I need to get promoted. I need to make partner. I
Yeah.
need to get to this level of financial stability. And in the meantime, who's suffering? Your family, your loved ones. And trust you me, at some point, each and every single person watching this podcast, you're going to retire. One day you're going to take off that military uniform. You're going to take off that business suit. You're going to take off that dress, that business suit, or whatever, and the hopefully your family is still there. Hopefully you have not um, created such a disconnect between your children that you can never regain that trust, that relationship back. And hopefully that's what this book will do for you.
So, with that being said, who is this book for? Because it doesn't sound like it's just for the soldier.
No, it's just not for military. This book is for anybody that feels as if they're stuck, they don't have a way out, they're looking for words of encouragement. This is a book for you. It just is not confined or, you know, just for the military audience. Book is for anyone that feels like, hey, I am in such a depression, or, you know, because I grew up in this socially economically challenging environment, I grew up without these things afforded to me as an individual. I'm not going to allow it to define me. That's who this book is for. If you're looking for inspiration, you're looking for someone to say, I want to talk to someone that's been through the, or as I like to say, been through the mud and made it out of it, this is your book. And I purposely made this book succinct so it does not take you weeks on weeks, and it's hundreds and hundreds of pages. It's packed with emotional, inspiring content, start to finish, but it's not going to take you so long to read it where you lose focus, or you're like, you know what, I would love to read a book, but it's 400 pages and that's just too much of a read for me. And I understand that.
Yeah.
And this society we live in, where, you know, we got an algorithm on our TikToks and our Facebooks and our Instagrams and etc. We got instant information and Chat GPT and AI and so on and so forth. We just are not a society that sits and read for hours and hours each day. That society has shifted.
Well, Command Sergeant Major, retired, Donald Robertson. I just want to thank you once again for joining us tonight. If you haven't noticed, we have been putting your purchase link on the screen as well as in the chat. Everybody, make sure you click that link. This book is for you. If you have been putting your all into a career, into a business, whatever it is that you've been putting your all and you've been neglecting yourself, if you've been neglecting family, or whatever it is that you've been neglecting, this is the book that you should be reading. If you are considering a life in the military, and whether it's Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, or what have you, this could be a book that you might want to read. So click that link, purchase this book. This is a debut book. I don't think it'll be the end, though. Are you planning on writing another book?
I'm already getting a lot of requests, so I think a sequel or second edition is in the works.
Oh, see, I told you. I told you it wouldn't be the end. But congratulations. This sounds like you have made quite a smash with this book. Congratulations on already getting reviews on this book. I will be getting my copy very, very soon. I'd love to have you back on the show.
I would love to come back. I always enjoy um, giving back, or as I like to say, paying it forward. So this is my passion. This is why I exist. So I would love to come back if you're happy.
Well, all you have to do is say the word. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful evening. God bless you. Command Sergeant Major Donald Robertson.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you. Have a great night. Make sure you guys get this book. All right. All right. So
Thank you.
thank you. So that's all we have for tonight, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it. We had a night of passion, literary passion tonight. So before we end, I just want to remind you, if you have not done so already, make sure you guys sign the petition for the creators' rights movement. Um, we are, in case you haven't heard, oh goodness, I always put this thing up and then you can't see me. There we go. We are working to change the outdated copyright laws for every song, every book, every film, every design. If you scan this QR code right here, it will take you to the Creators' Rights Movement website, and you can find out all the information on the Creators' Rights Movement, and you can sign the petition. If you want more information on why this is important, you can go to my magazine, Meet the World magazine. And if you click the link, which should be on the screen momentarily, meet where is it? mtwimagesolutions.com/meet the world magazine. If you click that link, it will take you to the magazine. You can download the magazine, and there's an amazing article all about the creators' rights movement and why it's so important. And you can also click the link in the article, and it will take you to the magazine there as well. Oh, there it is. See, he is just on it. I love Daniel. Boom, boom, boom. But it'll take you right there, mtwimagesolutions.com/magazine. Just click that link. It'll take you to the magazine, and you can read the article, and then you can click the link in the article, and it'll take you to the creators' rights movement, so you can learn more about these outdated copyright laws and why we are trying so hard to change them. We are trying to change them to make copyright perpetual, which means that you can actually establish a true legacy for your family, so your family can really benefit from all of the blood, sweat, and tears you put into your work, into your songs, your films, your books, and everything else that you can put a copyright on. They can actually benefit from that instead of it going into the public domain where anybody can benefit from it. So more information on that, just go to the magazine and get more information on that. If you can't, if you don't know anything else, if you can't find anything else, just go to my website, mtwimagesolutions.com, and you can find all of the things, all of the information. Creators' Rights Movement. You can find the magazine. You can find information about me. You can find information about the show. You can find information about it all. It's right there. Also, go to the website, find information on Substack, because I just posted a great article, a whole article on the top 10 common mistakes that I find in manuscripts. I edit a lot of manuscripts, and I put the top 10 common mistakes that I find in manuscripts that I have edited. And I'm sharing them with you because I want you to be able to improve your manuscripts so you can have stronger copy, you can have stronger books, and it will help you to have stronger products, which will give you better reviews for your books. So there's a lot of great stuff that I share with you guys for free. So all I need you to do is pick up what I'm putting down. And look at Daniel just sharing the Substack. Come on, Daniel, on it. So just click the link in my in the right there in the comments and right now on the screen. Meet the World Image Solutions.substack.com. So you can check out the Substack, check out my article on the top 10 mistakes that I find in manuscripts. So lots of good information out there that I want you guys to have, and check it out. So that's all I have for this week, guys. I will see you guys tomorrow on Black Authors Matter TV. And then I will see you right back here next week where we'll be talking to 2 more amazing authors. And I hope to see you guys right back here next week. So until then, have a wonderful week and have a wonderful evening. May God continue to bless you. Love you guys. Bye.